On a small brick street in Copenhagen, there's a large, ominous gate next to a bar. Through that is a quiet, private courtyard. Surrounded by bright orange walls, this area has large wooden tables to sit down at. Next to those is a door, marked by a blue barrel kicked over on its side. This is where you'll find Ghost Ship games, packed into a cozy corner in Denmark's capital city, and definitely reaching the limits of how many it can house. This team has been hard at work on Deep Rock Galactic since 2016, along with the beginnings of a spin-off Rogue Core about a year ago. Not only that, their publishing branch has been lending a hand to Spell Rogue, DRG Survivor, Dino Lords, and Dark Swarm. Despite a lean team of 35, the studio is busy. I was, along with a handful of other creators, invited to visit for a few days. We were left to putz around the office, bother some developers, and also just meet really lovely people who made this game. We also playtested the upcoming spin-off Rogue Core. The only thing that was missing was Robert, aka Mission Control, who was sadly out of the office during the visit. I'll get you next time, bud. On entering the building, you'll likely make your way to the canteen. This is a quaint room used for daily stand-up meetings, lunch, and occasionally some foosball. Stand-up goes about how you'd imagine. The whole crew surrounds a few whiteboards. One is for Rogue Core, another is for DRG Season 5, and the last one was filled to the brim with some very serious spin-off ideas. I can't wait for the plans for Season 6, including the Illinois biome, which Aaron and I discussed would have tolls at every dirt that you have to pay at the end of the mission. The rest of the room is used for fueling the team. A small kitchen takes up the back wall. It's in pretty good shape, though one cabinet is showing some wear from some tired hands. This is, of course, where the coffee mugs are stored. A single coffee maker meets with most of the studio each day, sometimes even kindly brewing a double of whatever is desired. It's safe to say Season 5 would be even more delayed without the help of this guy. Across the room is the entrance to the barn. It's called that because it used to be a barn. Large dark wooden beams tie the room together. Between those are about as many desks as you can reasonably fit in the space. Ghost Ship's crew tinker with a suite of software here. Unreal Engine, Blender, Maya, and Slack illuminate from rows of monitors. You'll find some crafting caves, others summoning gnarly new creatures for Rogue Core, some dwarves animated doing some new dance moves, or maybe a fancy new weapon framework set for the upcoming season. It's really cool for Season 5. I think it's my favorite so far. The barn feels like the heart of the company. Many of the employees will happily talk with you about what they're up to. Jacob, an artist who is in the coined Swedish corner, quickly guided me through all sorts of slick and silly interact animations for the new weapons in Rogue Core. They're really cool. A few rows into the center of the room is Anders, who is working on a point extraction cave before us pesky visitors derailed his hard work. We had all sorts of questions about the terrain tech. He showed us how tunnels work, the effects a biome can have on cave size and cave shape, and also a ton of new overclock prototypes for Season 5. Each desk has a unique loadout, consisting of many monitor configurations, keyboards, mice, and mouse pads, depending on the employee. My favorite of which being Christian's, who just had a large Acer television to do his work. We chatted a bit about his wonderful display, along with his Season 5 work that may be small in size but was really nice for quality of life changes. This conversation derailed pretty fast, and somehow we ended up on his YouTube channel, where he introduced me to his array of hobbies. This large Ghost Ship Games logo, he made it for the studio as a gift, and that's just the beginning too. He flies planes and gliders. He recently made piloting controls from a vehicle in Dune for Microsoft Flight Sim. There's this 2-player controlled gun game thing he made, and also he showed me a video of him shooting a pumpkin, which was aptly named Pumpkin Shoot. Behind Christian lies the QA corner, a dim cutout with 4 desks decked out with gear to, well, assure quality. Here I interrupted Bjorn and Jesper doing some client bug testing to take a picture of his rather lovely mug. You don't want to drink out of it though. Bjorn told me that you don't want to do that. Bjorn is a very calm and collected person and has a lot of patience for conversation, which is a useful skill when part of your job is recreating specific bugs reported by players, some of which can be quite mad. Right next to QA is the one and only meeting room, which also functions as the streaming room for anniversary streams. In the corner, I found something kind of disturbing. It was this horrible smelling creature. I tried to ask everyone about it, but everyone just ignored me. Regardless, I still got a nice picture in the room. The last area to really cover is down by the entrance and to the left. This is called the garage, because it used to be a garage. This room is very cozy, has a nice wall of windows that face into the courtyard. Here you can find a variety of people, including the stream team. Jacob, Mark, and Aaron host weekly streams for the community here, often goofing about, being delivered burgers on stream very often, and partaking in the weekly task of telling players that no, there won't be a 5th class, the water biome is not feasible, and crossplay probably won't happen. Fans of the game will interact with what these three do often, whether it's Jacob doing socials, Mark's lovely video editing in DaVinci Resolve that I wish I could use to make this video, or Aaron's writing that makes its way into all sorts of places. But my favorite has to be Below Decks, which is a write-up series about different aspects of development at the company. Also, just worth mentioning that Jacob's desk is a monolith to witness, displaying a wallpaper of Driller body pillow fan art. Behind him is the CEO's desk, Soren. Soren has worked in game development as a lead programmer and also was an educator before Ghost Ship Games. He does all sorts of stuff now. Most of it I don't understand. There's meetings with people or something, but he talked mostly about the publishing side of things, as that's been a big part recently. Games that Ghost Ship publishes follow the early access model that Deep Rock Galactic became known for, taking advantage of community interaction and communication to build a better game in the long run. You can already see this with the 2 most recently published games, Spell Rogue and DRG Survivor. They both have the living roadmap system that Deep Rock Galactic did. Outside of work, Soren is quite openly a big Slay the Spire fan, which led us to talk to the recently released Balatro, which is a poker-themed deck builder we were both enjoying quite a bit. It was nice to talk to the CEO of a video games company and find him so present in the studio. He was there at the stand-up every day and obviously loves video games. Another familiar face you might know is Mikkel, who has his desk right in the middle of the barn, at which you might catch him playing DRG Survivor. Mikkel has experience developing video games of all sorts. He's been a game designer, lead level designer, and was an educator previously as well. Over dinner at Il Buco, a lovely restaurant near the studio, he talked about his earliest experiences with games on the VIC-20, followed by a scathing review of Tomb Raider: The Angel of Darkness, and somewhere in the mix was his appreciation of the movie Alien, to the surprise of no one. All of which would be intertwined with his plans to make Rogue Core more difficult on the next playtest. Our team beat the first run of the game, and they weren't wanting us to do that. The next playtest, we got our asses handed to us, except for Lazy Maybe. He made it through. Since the development of Rogue Core has started, Ghost Ship has been splitting time between that and Deep Rock Galactic, but with 2 maintenance updates now finished, those took much longer than they expected. Less time was available to work on Rogue Core. This whole situation had me wondering, does Ghost Ship wish they could stop working on DRG and just go full in on Rogue Core? So I asked Mikkel that, and he said no. For this team, developing updates for DRG is very familiar. As long as the company's been around, they've had this environment to brainstorm and create in. Mikkel is honest, talkative, and iron-willed when it comes to designing games. From what I've gathered, it isn't uncommon for him and Mike to get in debates at the studio. Mike is most widely known for balancing weapons in Deep Rock Galactic, but his work can be found all over the place in the game. A picture of him is also used to tell employees what's gonna be for lunch. In conversation, he is very, very excited about what he's doing, but has a very careful way of talking about things. He always considers ideas thrown his way and replies thoughtfully. Our combination of personalities created a sort of infinite conversation machine, bouncing between topics rapidly, sharing ideas, and never really finding a way to wrap it up, but in the best kind of way. We were sat at Copenhagen's oldest bar, and he stopped by to drop something off and said he couldn't be too long. He asked us about our experience with Rogue Core, what we want from it as long-term DRG players, and many plans for designing this new roguelike game. This led into a deep dive about roguelike design, along with other questions us creators had. He stayed 10 minutes past when he was supposed to leave. Rogue Core is very much its own separate experience from Deep Rock Galactic. In my original coverage of the reveal, I said it seemed to be like an expansion, and going off the Steam page screenshots, that's definitely a reasonable assumption from me. But that isn't the case. It has the terrain tech, you're obviously still on Hoxies, and currently it controls similar to the base game, but even in such an early state, it quickly is distancing itself mechanically. Trust me when I say this is very much its own game with its own identity. From what I've gathered, a huge part of development is iteration. To make the experience fun, you have to actively search for what aspects will make that happen. Rogue Core in its current state is reaching in many different directions and exploring ideas as much as it can. Some of which will probably stay, others will not, and those will inform the direction the game will take further. I'm hopeful about the game, and I think it can provide a more interactive cooperative experience in a roguelite FPS, and have ways to create fun and unique builds each run. One thing's for sure, as soon as it's ready to be shown off, it will be. Ghost Ship Games is astoundingly fast-paced. Plans for future content are not explored, it's all about what's going on right now. Season 5 was only weeks in development when we arrived. On the topic of it, the upcoming season is looking to be the largest the game's had since its first, with a new mission type, 12 overclocks, new enemies, and even more. One of my favorite additions being the ability to switch to older seasons and play them. While experiencing a new game and seeing all the plans for Season 5 was really cool as a massive fan of their work, it wasn't the highlight of the trip. That would be meeting all these people. To put faces to the development of this game, learn their personalities, listen to them, ask questions, laugh, and hang out and enjoy time together. I tried a Swedish Christmas soda, I think it was called Hjelmurst? I don't know. It sucked though, it wasn't very good. Sorry if you like that. This environment is so comfortable and the people are so friendly. Walking up to the door for the first time and seeing all of the devs crowd around in excitement for our arrival, knowing that feeling was mutual, that they were just as excited as us. It's a very humbling experience as someone who's been impacted so much by what they make. It may show in Deep Rock Galactic how much fun this team has developing games, but seeing it in person is something completely different. The current office is just really special too. It feels very historic and cozy. It's got a really unique vibe. I hope I captured it in these pictures and videos. I'm glad I could get this too because they're actually moving out in the summer. Their new office is about 3 times the size, which is good. No plans to expand the company any faster than the usual deal, just giving employees a bit more room than the barn offers. It is under construction, but we did get to see a tour of the new place. It looks really nice so far, and it has really cool balconies. I also found this little electrical closet that I think I'm going to use as my office. I'm just going to kind of hide in there the whole time and hope they don't find me. They're gonna put me in here.
I think you could fit easily. How big is your computer?
Oh, it'd fit in the corner or something, maybe that one.
Probably just the VR headset for the...
I could put the monitor in here and stuff, and...
I was thinking VR headset, you could just like pretend...
That's true, I wouldn't even need a monitor. Thank you to Ghost Ship Games for inviting me and the other creators to visit. I didn't expect to go to Copenhagen and then come back with so many new friends, from the creators I got to meet for the first time, and to the people who work there too. You are all so nice, and I'm so thankful that you exist. To the creators, thank you for spending time with me in Copenhagen. You're all so kind, and I'm happy to have met you. I'm especially glad that we could see your first 7-Eleven experience, Explorian. I'm sure it was all you hoped and more. Also, I ate Burger King in the Copenhagen airport, which felt kind of poetic. Thank you so much for watching this video. Ghost Ship Games forever. Rock and Stone.